Okay, welcome everybody. That's a big list here in my screen.
Yeah.
Nice to have you here all. The third part of the Broker Day. The last hour we had a presentation of our Brooker Jos, and he told us about the brokership in Heerlen North. And now the stage is and the floor is for Job and Jelle and Jeff. We have something with names. It's all with a G. Jos, Job, Jeff, Jelle. They will tell us. They will tell us something about the city center, the Citylab, Brookership, their ideas, their initiatives. So the floor is yours.
Awesome.
Sorry, one question. If everyone could shut down their camera and also mute the microphone, but the 3 J's.
3 J.
Yeah.
Okay, good luck, 3 J's.
Yeah, sorry,
Sounds like
Jos.
a band.
You have to close down.
Yeah, okay. The J number 4 is having to close.
Very,
Yeah.
it is a Dutch band. The 3
JR.
G's, the 3 J's is a Dutch band, so that's the joke.
Oh, already? Sorry, I just thought you made it up. Sorry, I'm out. Bye.
Okay, me too.
Awesome. So welcome to the J presentation. Monique, can you click on the presentation so we can see it? Yay, super awesome. So the pictures I used in this presentation are all made during the City Week. It was during the Cultura Nova Festival, and 4 of the Citylab initiatives were using the Stadstuin, so the city garden, to show that they have an idea and they want to realize the idea. And these are the students of HFC, the breakdancers, getting a workshop from Nick.
Sorry, Job, I had to let someone else join in, and I can't let them in when I'm in the presentation.
No problem.
So I don't know, Linda, can you see it when someone wants to join in extra? Or Kelly?
No.
Maybe you, I think Kelly can, and then Kelly can let them in.
No, I don't see.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hello, Stephanie.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Well, we just started with the presentation, Stephanie, and our rule is that we are recording it just to share the presentation after the meetings. And the rule is that we shut down our camera and our speaker, so the presentation is fully recorded.
Yeah, maybe, Linda, it's better now than when people want to join now. Just, yeah, they can see it afterwards when I have recorded it. So Job can tell his story. So that's a shame when someone is later. Yeah?
Yeah, that's okay. But start the presentation or share the screen and then we go further.
I will. Okay. Stephanie, if you would like to shut your camera down, please, for recording. Thank you.
And we're back. So they're getting a workshop of a famous dancer from Eindhoven. The idea of the breakdance crew was that they want to have their own public breakdance area in the city center where they can practice outside. And actually they're going to get it also. So that's positive news. But for the introduction of my brokerschap, my job as a broker, I wanted to start with how it all began when I was 15 years old. So Monique, if you can scroll down and go to the introduction. Yes. So making your hobby your profession, that was the whole idea. When I was 15 years old, I was a soccer player, and I went to school in Heerlen. And there was this friend of mine, he was in my class, he was breakdancing every day. So I was really interested in how he does it and where he did it. And he invited me to his practice sessions. And I was in love instantly. what I like about breaking and breakdancing and hip hop culture is the unity. So everybody is one. We share the same passion, and that's dancing. And I was so in love that I had the idea that I want to do something with it for the rest of my life. So I went to school, I finished my study, and after my study, I told my parents I'm going to do everything I want to do in 1 year, my sabbatical year, and then I'm going to find a serious education. I was 20 years old, and 11 years later I'm still in my sabbatical year, so nothing changed actually. And what I did was I was teaching dancing on high schools and primary schools and for dance schools. And the money I earned, I saved it to travel all over the globe and learn more about hip-hop culture. After 5 years, I was kind of done with it. I wanted something new. So that's why I wrote down Life Gets Serious, HFC. I started a new project. And the project is quite simple. There were 10 dancers that danced on this big square of Heerlen. It's called Pancratiusplein. And they had a dream, and the dream was that they could have their own place where they can practice every day to become professional dancers. So I asked them what they need to become the professional dancers beside the own place, and they told me that they want to teach and build up their own breaking hotspot. So that's what we did. It was 5 years ago already, and they started with their own dance studio. It's called HFC. It's a pretty how do you say it? Well, never mind. So they started with 10 students, and it became very big. They had in 2 years 150 students extra, and they started traveling all over the world and get invitations as a dance group. It was quite special because we came out of nothing and nobody believed in dancers from Heerlen, except for het Fonds Podiumkunsten. So that's why I wrote down Matchmaker Cultuur, bringing your community to the next level. There are 3 cultural funds in the Netherlands, big ones, that see the developments in urban culture, hip-hop culture, but they don't support those projects. And they want to have more information about those projects, and they ask me if I would start working as an advisor for them. So instead of only helping the b-boys, I can also help urban art, urban dance, and urban music. And with that project, I get in touch with Nijmegen, and they ask me if I want to go a level further and start working as a city broker. And I think Jos told you everything about the Gebrookerbos-method before my presentation. And as a city broker, I can go to the next level. So I can help people with writing plans. I can help people with thinking about their project. And I can connect them beside the 3 funds. I can also connect them with the city administration, the province, etc. Are there any questions so far? Okay.
Sorry, normally if someone has a question, they can raise the hand.
Oh, okay.
But within this screen, I can't see it if someone raises the hand. So if someone has a question, just wants to shout out. And if no one says anything,
okay.
then
awesome.
No questions.
Well, let's continue to the next page. And the next page is probably a picture, and then we're going to go to what we do. So if you can scroll down, awesome. And the next. Super awesome. So what does the Citylab do? Transforming Heerlen. Revive the city center. So there's a lot of empty buildings in the city center of Heerlen, and people lost their faith in the city center of Heerlen. Except for a lot of younger people nowadays. If you walk through the city, you see a lot of empty stores, and you think there's nothing going on in Heerlen, but Heerlen is becoming a big cultural city. So the city is investing in all these different type of up-and-coming cultural events. So that means that urban is interesting for Heerlen. So they came up with the word urban, and it was very strange for me because I'm totally into hip hop culture. But it's a positive thing. So the city started with getting the bigger events to Heerlen, like the notorious IBE, the International Breakdance event. Also a skateboarding and a BMX event. It's called, well, it doesn't matter what it's called, I forgot it. And they say we are an urban city, an up-and-coming city, but nobody actually knew what urban is. So the older generation was like, well, what's urban? Is urban like there's a painting on the wall, or they had no idea. For me, it was quite strange also, but I have a really good view about the urban profile of Heerlen because I'm hanging around at the places where a lot of these cultural experts come together. Well, reviving the city in a new way, so it means that the citizens are in the lead and they can decide how the city has to change. We have a few focus points. The younger citizens, because a lot of young people, they leave Heerlen because they get more job opportunities in Utrecht or in Amsterdam. Talent development, so the people that are really good in certain cultural arts need some more guidance. They need some more guidance, but also people who want to build something for the younger generation to develop their talents. Social entrepreneurship. Almost everything that happens with the cultural events is linked to entrepreneurship. Sometimes they need funding, sometimes they have their own model to earn something. Jeff is going to talk about it a little bit more later because he used to own his own coffee bar and link it to music and also clothing design. And the micro initiatives, the smaller initiatives. Can you please scroll down, Monique? Yeah, that's me blowing. The next one. Yes, so the initiatives. The citizens are in the lead. So we are not going to decide what needs to happen in the city. The people from Heerlen are going to decide what needs to happen in the city. So we're going to change it. The government is not going to tell us what to do. The people decide what they think is necessary to change the city center of Heerlen. Finding initiatives, well, that's for me, it's not that hard because I'm always there where something is happening. I go out late at night because I live in the city center. But if there's something going on, like an event, I'm always walking around and talking to people and asking people questions. Stop using your ego. So the citizens are in the lead and we are not going to decide what needs to happen. So that means that my ego is, I have to put away my ego. I have to listen to what they need and what they want, and I have to help them. But I also need to do that with the people, the stakeholders who are who want to help the citizens with the great ideas. So the ego method is quite hard because sometimes you're so enthusiastic, you just want to throw up 100 ideas to help them, but you have to put it away and you have to ask them questions so they come up with the ideas themselves. Sometimes it's a big struggle, but it works quite well. Connecting the ideas. So if I find ideas and they match with a similar idea, I always try to connect them and try to bring them together. So they form a team, and if they're a team, they're much stronger. And changing policies with stakeholders and translate it. Some ideas are so new that people don't know how to support it. Like the local government doesn't know how to support it. So we need to think about ways to change the policy so an idea can actually happen. When it comes to translation, everybody speaks a different language. Like the system has their own language and people with the idea have their own language. And sometimes they are really positive about the idea, but they both think, especially the person with the idea, they think that the system is not ready yet or they didn't like it at all. So I have to translate it for them. And it happens many times. It's really funny sometimes because they after a meeting, they walk outside and they tell me like, whoa, this was not going great at all. And then I tell them, well, they were actually quite positive about your idea. So just keep up the good work. Monique, The next one, please. And I think the next one is a picture, so one down more. The achievements, so what we did so far, like Citylab is a 3-year experiment. So they're doing research to see what happens if we use another way of city development. We are in this project for a year and a half now, and we support 35 initiatives. The Citylab supports fundraising projects, and we collected 2 million euros in total. So we advise, we organize, and we bring people together, but we also write plans, and we give feedback on the plans that they're writing. We're starting a new way of engagement marketing. Well, the engagement marketing is quite new already, but we're going to make professional videos of the initiatives, and we're going to put them in the middle, and they can tell about their idea, and they can ask a question. So what do you need to realize your idea, or what do you need to make your idea more famous? And we're going to spread it to different stakeholders, and we hope that they will find a new connection. And almost 15 initiatives started with their idea, or are almost starting with their idea. So that's quite positive, and it was a lot of work too. Okay, scroll down, please. So I invited Jelle Dietere of the Rooftop Project and Jeff Hanze. He used to have his own coffee bar. He's a musician. He's working on a music platform, and he is a social worker. But before they will tell something, does anybody or someone have a question? Because we cannot see the raising hands. So if you have a question, please ask it now.
No one has raised the hand. Normally I can see it. So you're doing it really well, Job. Oh, one hand is raising. I think Frederick. Yeah,
I'm the first one.
Yeah.
How do you choose among the different initiatives? You make a choice, or you take all of them, or?
Well, they have to fit the criteria. So they need to be young people. It has to be talent development, social entrepreneurship, or a micro initiative. But the biggest focus is that younger people, they just need to be young. For instance, they came up with an idea to organize a festival in Heerlen. But the person who wanted to organize the festival was 60 years old, and the focus group was 60 years old, so elderly. So I have to tell him, like, yeah, I will find you a connection as someone you can talk to, but I cannot help you any further. Is that a good answer to your question?
He's quiet now. Frederick?
Yes, thank you,
Are you
very
muted?
much. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I think there are no further questions.
Okay.
Because Frederick is still holding his hand up, so.
Not anymore.
Now it's gone, yeah.
So then I would like Jelle to talk about his rooftop project and how he came up with it and how he's working on it right now.
Yes, hello, my name is Jelle Dietere. I'm 23 years old. First I'm going to tell you something about how I think about Heerlen. I grew up in a city next to Heerlen, a small village. When I was younger, when I was thinking about Heerlen, I not thinking really good about it. For me, it was a kind of dirty place with a lot of junkies hanging around. So I was not often in Heerlen. But when I start studying, I studied project development in Heerlen. I went more to Heerlen, and I start working at Carbon 6. Multi-tenant building where Job also went space for his dance school. In that period, I built up my network, and I learned a lot of people who were working on the development of Heerlen. And the last year of my study, I did a research about the rooftop project Heerlen. So I don't like normal things. So I came up with my own research called How Can I Make the Inner City of Heerlen More Sustainable by Using Rooftops. In Linz, in Austria, there's also a rooftop project which has 320,000 visitors a year. So for the city, it's like the same like Heerlen. It's an urban city where in the 1900s it was a walled city, but now it's with a lot of empty buildings, like the same like Heerlen. And there are now daily many visitors to the project and also to the shops. So the wealth in Linz is much better now. So we want to try to do that the same in Heerlen. In my research, I said we want to make it more sustainable in 2 ways. The first is make it more green by using water retention, creating biodiversity on the rooftops, reduce heat islands, and to reduce peak discharge. And on the other side, I want to make it more attractive because the city has not so much visitors. There are more empty buildings, the shops are going away. So I did a research about the strengths and the weaknesses of Heerlen, and I create concepts for on the rooftops. The first one is to use the citizen participation in Heerlen to create concepts for on the rooftops. The second one is to make a green rooftop. And the last one was to bring people together, citizens, and think with them together about the concept for on the roof. What potential do I see in Heerlen? I think Heerlen need to distinctive character cities to do it different like other cities. We have to use urban characters to add value to the city. Wait, I need to close my book, so I don't need to read. I think the potential in Heerlen, there's a lack of young people in the city. So I was thinking after my study, what do I want to do? What do I like? And on one side, I like house music. And on the other side, I like to think about concepts for empty buildings. So I called Job to make an appointment with him and talk about my ideas about to make a concept for events in the city for young people where they can, such as house parties in empty buildings. So show them the empty places in the city where they not come on the usual. And next to that, I'm part of an energy corporation. In Heerlen, they want to make 5,000 solar panels in the city. So I don't know how to say that. Job, could you help me a bit?
What word are you looking for, Jelle?
Yeah.
I wrote it all down, what I would say, but I now forget everything.
No problem. Okay. This is for everyone the first time, Jelle. You're really doing it great. Just be yourself.
I want to show young people hidden places in the city so they get a connection with the city. And for me, it's a goal for in the future, get more young people in the city. So now there are a lot of old people, and the younger people, they, how do I say that? Die creëren reuring in de stad.
Yeah, they make noise in the city.
Yeah, and when there are young people in the city, older people also like to hang out in the city. So for me, for the future, I want to think about concepts, how you can get young people in the city I think that's, yeah, for Heerlen a problem. If you look to the future, all the younger people are leaving. And I think that's really sad.
Yeah, but you're staying, so there's a lot of hope, Jelle.
Yes. Are there any questions?
Yes, so the young people that they are leaving the city for I mean, they are going to work elsewhere, live elsewhere, or how do you plan to keep them also in the city? Have you got an idea of that?
Yeah, you can organize events for younger people. Yeah, you can. I think that you need to do a research about how other cities get younger people to stay. I think that's very important. And I think for me, if I want to go to party, I also need to go to Maastricht because, yeah, there are not parties like that in Heerlen. So for me, it's a goal to create events in Heerlen, which I like, to create a new scene.
Yeah, so you need to connect to other city then. Thank you, thank you very much.
Murray has a question.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this is excellent. It's a really good presentation because you're talking. There's definitely sincerity in how you're coming over. So it's a really interesting story. I'm just interested in it's your story is just one of many, I'm sure. You said you got in touch with Jop because you'd heard about the project and now you're involved in directly in managing some of it, and it's such an interesting aspect of this project. Do you think the young people in Heerlen feel that they can do something about it? They know where to go. If they have an idea, they know where to go to help them take it forward now that the project exists.
Yeah, I think the younger people don't have a connection with the city, and that's the problem. So for me, because I did a research about Heerlen, I get a passion for the city. And I think when I look to my friends, they all think, oh, Heerlen, that's shit. I don't want to go there. But yeah, if you get to learn a bit about it and you see which initiatives are in the city, you start liking it.
Mm. Yeah, thank you.
Ineke has raised her hand.
Yes, I want to ask a question for both of the speakers. How do you promote all those beautiful projects?
I think Job can better answer that question because my initiative is just in the development phase.
Okay, Job.
Yeah, I was thinking about your question. Well, the most important thing with promoting the initiatives is that I cannot say this is Stadslab Heerlen, this is Citylab Heerlen, and these are our initiatives. So it has to come from themselves.
Yes.
So communication and promotion is part of the process. For instance, the Pand Heerlen. Mm-hmm. It's an initiative of young artists, and they do photo expositions, and they ask for funding at a local fund. And part of it is, okay, how do you gonna promote what you're doing right now? And they use social media a lot, so they use Facebook and Instagram, and most of the time they use their personal social media. And for me, if people want to find me, they contact me a lot with Facebook and Instagram. So okay. That's why Stadslab Heerlen, Citylab Heerlen doesn't need a website, because young people are not gonna Google city development Heerlen and find me. They're just gonna find Job.
Yes, they find persons instead of organizations.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. But also you can use promotion for you as somebody who has great ideas? And not only by social media, I think.
I can't raise my hand, Monique. I would like to say something about that, Ineke, because that's the question that we, I think, get the most. Okay, where is your website? Where is your promotion? Where are your posters? Where are your flyers? And we always say, we don't need them. We have a network on our phone. We have the social media with the initiatives, what they want and what they need. We asked, and they all say, yeah, we don't need it. And we have, it's an, sorry for the word, and I don't mean it disrespectful, but it's an age-related question. By the municipality, also always is the question, well, you don't have a website. Where can I find some information? Well, call us and we can drink a cup of coffee with you. Jop is always available. And if you see the number of initiatives, there are more than 40 or 50 or 60 with the Corona initiatives. And when we put them in the numbers, there is a lot going on. So as a Citylab, we always ask ourselves, what do we need to make more promotion? Is it necessary?
Maybe I used the wrong word. Maybe it is exposure.
Yeah, but also the exposure. That's what I meant. The exposure for the initiatives. They do it themselves. If there is a question for the Citylab, help us with promotion, then we will do it. But for the Citylab itself, we experience that it's not needed to organize a lot of exposure. If there is no, and that's our principle, if there is no question from initiatives, then we don't do it. Because the Citylab is not, it's not because we invented the Citylab and we think, okay, here's the Citylab and everyone needs to know what a Citylab. No, we are there for the people who need us, and one way or another, they will find us.
Okay.
It's a bit weird, and it sounds a bit like a paradox, and that's also the experiment of the Citylab.
If I can add something, sorry, Ineke.
No problem.
I don't think it's. I know what Linda means. I don't think it's age related. Oh, I hear something else. Oh, Guillaume is coming into the joining the meeting. I don't think it's age related, but it's just a really new approach, and we have found it ourselves that the Citylab has presented itself to different persons and people in our municipality, and we can tell our story and people understand it. We have to, it's really great that Jelle and Jeff are now here so they can tell it themselves. But we still notice that the people are listening, but they don't relate. They don't know the new way of working that NAMED is doing. And for NAMED, it's really a normal way of working. But I can see that for the most of the people who are working at the municipality, it's really different. Normally, it's from not bottom up, but just from
top down.
Yeah, top down, and now it's bottom up. It's really a new way of working, and that is what I think that NAMED and the Citylab is learning the municipality of Heerlen, and they have done it in the Gebrookerbos, and they are now doing it again in the Citylab in the center, and people really have to get used to it. So that's my feeling.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I see there's something coming in the chat, but I'm not that quickly.
Frederic
asked,
how could SuNSE European Network help develop yourself and your project? I think this is a question that we better can answer after the presentation story of Jeff. Is that an idea?
Awesome.
Okay, Jeff.
Hi. Can you hear me now? Yeah, okay. I'm Jeff, I'm 28 years old, and when I was younger, like about 10 years old, we always saw Heerlen like a big city. When we went to Heerlen, it was like we were going to Amsterdam or something. We didn't see that it was smaller or worse than Amsterdam. So it was always my dream to do something when I grew up for the city. In 2014, I almost finished my school in Tilburg, and I always wanted to go back to Heerlen after that. But around that time, it was pretty hard to find a job. And the thing I had was I want to work in Heerlen. I want to do something for the city. So I went on to create my own job. I wanted to start an artist booking agency for talent everywhere near Heerlen. But starting that up, you won't make enough money to make your living from it. So we needed an alternative. Me and a friend of mine did a brainstorm session in a local coffee bar, Bagels and Beans, to find out what the city was missing that we could combine with our booking. I would go on doing the booking and the management for the artist, and my friend would do a label. And we needed a place where we could make our money to make a living, and at the same time do the things we wanted to do. So be busy with making our own music and helping other talented artists in the city. From that brainstorm session, we went on and started a coffee bar, but not just a regular coffee bar. We wanted to to make it a meeting place for cultural Heerlen. So everyone who did something cultural was more than welcome to have brainstorm sessions with each other. And we facilitated ourselves to start up our own booking agency and our label. That's where I met Job, and Job opened a lot of doors for us because he made all the connections. He literally doubled all the connections that we had. He brought other people that did cultural things in the city to our place, and yeah, a million connections opened up for us as well as for others. We started doing our own clothing brand. We started to do little parties. You name it, and we did it. In January 2020, so this year, I quit my coffee bar because I did it 5 years and I thought it was time for something new. I started to do social work at Levanto, and I'm still combining it with all of my cultural things for the city. We just don't have the place to do it anymore. I think Heerlen is a city with a lot of talent as it comes to art, musicians, and everything that's cultural. We have a big cultural scene that stays underground, and I think if we all work together to push it to another level, we can create some kind of quality stamp for Heerlen. So if people see that an artist or a band or a DJ or whatever comes from Heerlen, that he just has a quality stamp just coming from Heerlen. And that's my dream to get the city to. That was a short version of my story. Any questions? I see Monique raising her hand.
Sorry, no, then it's still on. No, I have no questions. Thank you for your information. I can't see now if anyone else raises his or her hand. No, don't see any questions.
Oh, maybe it's an idea to turn on your camera and your sound if you have a question, because we can see you.
Murray has a question.
Murray has a question.
Yeah. I've forgotten I closed my laptop. My bad. Just hold on a second. I'll reopen it again. Can you see me now?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, that was really very interesting indeed. It was so interesting to hear from you all on the project. Can I just go back to a question from Jop's original opening presentation, and it was you don't need to bring this up because I wrote it down, but it was your slide which was entitled "Citizens in the Lead." And the key thing was, obviously you were there, it was about your role and not just helping citizens to navigate the policy, but to help the community. It was the other way around. It was to help the policy and the public sector to meet the needs of the community. And I thought that was very interesting that you were seeing it from that point of view. Obviously, traditional policy is that the community needs to meet the needs. The community needs to meet the needs of the policy or meet the needs of the council. And I think this is a really interesting take on this, going back to the public sector and saying, no, the community needs something different. And how easy have you found that? Have they been very receptive to changing their policy to meet the needs, to make it easier for the community to be able to do what they want?
It was a struggle, but that's why I like it. But it takes a lot of hours. It's talking and again and again and again, and it already started with the matchmaker cultuurfunctie. The funds is directly linked to the ministry, and they needed more information about all the new up and coming cultural events.
I think, sorry, I think Jeff has to mute his, because you are in the same room. Is it true? Yeah, I hear your
better.
Yeah, I was actually really interested in what he does nowadays. It's a beautiful project, so I wanted to see it by myself today. But the funny thing is that at different levels in the government or fundings or whatever, there are people that want to change things. People that used to skateboard themselves, people that used to be a dancer themselves, or people who are a musician, and they see things happening and they think this is not the right way. So I try to find them, link myself to them to start changing things.
Yeah, that's so Generation X.
What happened is that some funds even made new policies for the up and coming younger people.
Yeah.
And well, I think my city Heerlen has a long way to go, but if they can do it already at the ministry, then we're close.
Yeah, I imagine it's a struggle. It's an uphill struggle, but I would imagine also it gets easier because more, as you say, you've maybe got the Generation X, the slightly younger, more positive thinking, more inclusive staff now getting to a position where they can make decisions to make things easier for the community rather than top down. So that's good. I'm glad you're pushing that. Keep pushing it. Good.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, at the end, it all comes down to trust. Yeah. So I have to keep my word, and they have to keep theirs, and then we can come a long way. And communication does miracles. Yeah.
Good.
Awesome.
Good.
Thanks. Are there any more questions? Maybe for Jeff, maybe for Jelle? Frederick.
Yeah, again, it's okay. Basic question. So you have a lot of ideas from young people, youth. So you said yesterday your office is in the street. I would like to understand better what is the connection. I mean, where do you meet, and how come the idea? How where do the idea comes from, and geographically or in the place where you meet them and then they propose you ideas? How does the connection comes out? Or You know what I mean?
It's a really interesting question.
Where is the magic coming from? And because, okay, Linda, tell us that a lot of things are coming. So what is the magic? Thank you.
I have to think about that question. Well, first of all, there are hotspots in the city. So there are places where where people gather a lot. For instance, a local bar with 100 different types of beers. And I just know when I walk inside at a Saturday evening around 8 or 8:30, there will be people hanging around. And I always ask them, how are you? How is it going? Do you have any new ideas or options? Or we just chit chat. And sometimes something comes up and sometimes it doesn't. But there are, for instance, the Carbon 6 places where a lot of young entrepreneurs can hire a cheap accommodation for their business. And they are always looking for connections. And because the rent is so cheap, the underground people, the people that cannot be seen a lot, hang around there mostly like 24/7. And there are already organizations that also do something with art or music, and they have a big reach. So there are a lot of younger people using their accommodation also. And the festivals in the city. And I'm not scared to walk up to someone and just ask how he's doing and what he is doing. The other side, of course, is also that because I worked 5 years in a row for my dance studio, and we had a lot of titles and we organized a lot of events ourselves in the city. We are also like a well-known face, so people always know how to find us. So that's why the broker job suits me, because I was already talking with everybody. I can talk about this a lot, I think, because it's quite interesting. Is that a good answer, Frederick, or do you need some more?
Actually, I was looking entry points, and you know this. You exactly answered the question. Thank you, and thank you to Jeff also.
Awesome.
Well, maybe I can say something about it. When we were developing the idea of a city lab, there was the province and the municipality who was in the group of developers. And one of the criteria of these government organizations was that there must be a place, an information point for a city lab. So people can walk in the building, ask their question, and then we can arrange some help. And we at NIMAT said, no, why would you do that? Did you ask the citizens and the young people if they need that? No, yeah, we didn't, but that's the way it works. And we said, no, we are gonna experience and we are gonna investigate if that's the way it works. And after it, I think 6 months, we said, no, we really don't need an office in the city center. It's really not needed. We have an office in Nijmegen where we can work, where you can sit with your laptop, but we are just kind of travelers. We are in the city and we are with the people at the location of the people, because there is it's also a thing that you can have a better understanding of an idea if you are in the natural habitat of the one with the idea. And it's also a sign of interest, of engagement from the City Lab. You don't have to come to us because we are not that important. You are important. Your idea is important. So we come to you.
And besides that, I live in Heerlen for many years now, and every time when a new building opens up and it's even a little bit connected to the local government, everybody says, nah, it's going to fail anyway. So I think it's better to not open a building because people really lost their trust in filling empty buildings.
Good.
And yes, it's a bit scary. It's most of the times it's scary for the professional organizations who say, no, that's the way it works. And we are not so nice now and then. we always do what we think is good, and that's really cool on this project, and also that it's really cool of the municipality of Heerlen. We are getting the chance to claim the space to try things and to investigate it and to do something with it. We just got 25,000 euros from a national fund who said, well, that's we needed to do something with communication. And we said, no, we are going to experience and experiment with new forms of communication. And this is also a part of it. We will try things, and we don't go with the flow, and we are critical. What's the real question?
Okay, so when you said when the government is opening a building, that's what you say. It doesn't work. Yeah.
When it's related to the government, people will say if it's true or not. It's an assumption. It's an assumption from people. Well, when the government is involved, then we would, that wouldn't work, or doesn't work, or and that's what we with the Citylab want to investigate. Well, is that true? And what other options are there?
I think the older Jay raised his hand.
Oh. The older one, yes. If I listen to you, I see a younger version of myself.
Make that the catwise.
I was wondering, Job, you indicate that there should be more room for youth culture and youth perspective. Do you have the idea that the city understands that it's not just about paper policy, but mainly about mental space? In other words, a councillor once said, who wants to invest in the future of the city must invest in the youth. Do you have the idea that this actually happens, and what shows that?
Oh, thank you for the good question, Jos. It's starting to happen. It's starting to happen since I got the opportunity to function as a broker in Heerlen. And it started when we were at the symposium with all the elderly about redevelop a square. And they put a mic in my hand, and I had to tell them and ask them, where are all the younger people? And the older generation reacted and said, well, we would love to have younger people over here so we can discuss about it together. And I actually had this discussion last Friday with the ministry. And I have a meeting with somebody of Parkstad to discuss about the following: how can we bring the elder and the younger together and make the city together? So I'm still working on it, and especially working on it to show that there is actually the potential to do it. So that answer you?
Yeah, I think it's all about also places. We have some meetings at the cafe of Jeff. And I think it's not only a place where you can meet other people, young people, culture, but you meet also ideas from people. And if you give space, mental space for ideas for the city, you can grow as a city, as a person in that city. Yeah, thank you for your answer.
Thanks, Jos.
I don't see any raised hands. So questions?
Maybe we can put on our cameras. So that's easier than just
yeah,
to
can see each other. Also no live raised hands, Linda? No.
Well, if it raises questions when we are putting on our video, that's also a bit weird, but...
Sarah, no? You're just raising your pen. Yeah, no, you don't have to put it down.
No, I thought it was really interesting, and Linda, really what you were describing is the taking the bottom-up approach rather than governments saying they're going to open a building and taking the lead on it, that it really does work the other way. And also, from every presentation today, I've been linking it back to our city and how things work, from even right through from shrinkage this morning. But now we are investing a lot in our youth projects, and we now have a youth council, and we're doing a lot of community-led planning. But we have a really ageing population, and so the whole age-friendly thing and intergenerational projects are really strong with us. But and also with COVID, we've had a massive community response, and I think it's really mobilised the reaction to the current pandemic. So I think we have lots of opportunities for taking ideas on and developing projects and seeing how we can take that interest that the wider community has, bring it forward. So thank you for your inspiration.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
I
see
saw
that
Alex.
Yeah, Linda, sorry.
Alex, you're muted.
There you go. Job done. So it's for Jop and for the whole of the Heerlen sort of a group that you have there. Lots of really exciting projects tied in with youth in Heerlen. And it was occurring to me that I'm not really familiar with, because we haven't travelled there, how big Heerlen is. But also as well, and I'm not sure whether it was mentioned and I've missed it, because obviously I had missed the earlier presentation. What's the sort of age demographic in Heerlen? Are you quite a young city? A lot of the problems you were talking about suggest that perhaps you're actually, more of an aging city. So yeah, if you've got a response to.
Well, there's a lot of older people in Heerlen. A lot.
Okay.
And the younger people are the minority for sure.
Okay.
Some people that used to study in Amsterdam are coming back actually, because the house prices are really low. It's a big laugh actually. Well, if you ask me how big Heerlen is, then, for example, my ego will tell you we're just as big as New York City, because I'm really proud of my city. But we're a good city in the south of Holland, quite small. Yeah.
Yeah.
86,000 inhabitants.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, because I was wondering, so Merthyr is about 50,000. So I was trying to get, because obviously we share quite a lot of parallels in terms of our history, but we don't have this sort of dynamic youth sort of taking control of the culture. We have a lot of top-down sort of, do you want to do this, or people in there sort of around my age sort of putting on festivals and stuff. But and I was just thinking to myself, oh, perhaps it's because you're that much bigger, or you've got that much more young people, etc. But it sounds really very similar, and so there's a lot for us to take away from it. Thank you.
And when I was in Merthyr, I thought, well, it's really the same city. It's really the same vibe, or it's really the same. And I think what I saw was that in your city it's more institutionalized. So we are experimenting and we are doing things, and that's also Heerlen. With the mine history, the mines are closing, a lot of problems arise. So people they are used to do things by themselves. And they look at the government and say, hey, well, the government has to solve our problems. But the younger people doesn't do it like that.
Yeah, the older generation, they have a really good complaint mentality, and we make a lot of jokes about it. And the younger generation likes to complain a lot too, but then something changes and we just want to do stuff. It's enough is enough. So, but now the change that is gonna come now is that we have a lot of events in Heerlen, but now the younger people are saying like, well, why don't we organize these events? Why do you hire people from outside of Heerlen? We can do it by ourselves. So that's a really interesting change. And I would love to go to Merthyr actually, because I would love to see how it works. I've been to Birmingham a couple of times for hip hop events, and there's a really big hip hop community, and maybe there's like a match or something in a way, and we can just dive into young cultures and see what's going on. Yeah, it would be great.
You would be very, very welcome. When the R number is down, you'll be very welcome.
That would be really cool. So yeah. And I would love to give everybody the full Heerlen experience, by the way, because we have a lot of surprises here.
And I think the support system in Merthyr and also in the other cities in our network, it's more. Professional isn't the right word, but it's more structured. We don't have to. At least I haven't found it. We don't have a support organization for social entrepreneurs. Can't find it. We don't have it. So we are developing it and bottom up. That's the difference.
We have some regional, as we've spoken about previously, we've got some regional support, and I think in terms of my interpretation, what you're saying, we tend to be a little more prescriptive in terms of we are saying we've got the answer for you. We think the answer is this. Go and try that, or and the bottom up approach that the guys have been speaking about would be fantastic to see some more of that in Merthyr. It's great.
Awesome.
Kelly has raised her hand.
Yes, I had a question because I think Job and Jos would probably exchange some experiences. And we just, in the presentation of Jos, we were talking about that it was more difficult in the center of Heerlen because there are more stakeholders. So that it's more difficult to come with an idea. But I was wondering how you see that, Job.
It's a big challenge actually. I have to gain a lot of trust, especially with the usual suspects, and it takes time. So I really have to prove myself every single time I am in a meeting with them. And the people who come up with the ideas are also really busy with themselves. So it's easier to say, Job, help me a little, than instead of, well, he watched the whole project from A to Z, or he built with me the whole project from A to Z. But the hardest part in the city center is everything changes every week. You have no idea what's going on because there are so many things going on from bottom until the top. And even in the city of Heerlen, in the government itself, they don't know what's going on and who is working on which project and what project. So sometimes we even have to bring them together and tell them, well, he's working on it too, and he's working on it too. But I'm really happy that I don't have to work with all the businesses in the city, because that's really difficult. And my partner Heerlen en Stad, so the city marketing company, they have to take that challenge, and they need some support sometimes. But working together with the businesses in Heerlen is extremely difficult. Yeah.
And it gives us also the space to sometimes say, we don't know, so we are going to do it.
Well, I will work with them if somebody with a good idea needs one of the businesses, but most of the time it will match, and it's an easy connection. Yeah. Do you have more questions, Kelly?
What I want to add, please, Job, is that what I really have noticed, that the people know you and they really have a lot of respect for you. So Job is really the person who can also relate to the persons with the shop owners and everything. They all know Job and have really a lot of respect. I think it's more difficult for me and like for Kelly to talk to the shop owners and to the citizens and everything. It's for Job. It's I don't think it's work. It's just easier. It's not that you have to do less work for it, but they can relate to you. They know you. They think, okay, yeah, great, that is Job, and we are still, Kelly and I are still from the municipality.
Yeah, that's true.
That really creates a distance.
Yeah, we're a threat.
Yeah, that's the difference. Yes.
Yeah.
And when Job came into our office to apply to the job, I had the conversation with our former boss, with Job, and my boss, Wim, and we looked at each other, we gave Job a hand, and we said to each other, okay, this is it, this is him. So we had a chit chat, and we had an hour talk, and we were enthusiastic, and Job also. So in 5 minutes, we know, okay, this is the person we need. And that special thing Jos also have. And what it is, that's very cool, because in the Citylab there is also a researcher, there's an investigation from research of how does it work, are the competencies of Jos and Job. What is that spark that they have? What is it what you need to do this job? Otherwise, and say, well, they're nice guys and they know a lot. No, it's more than that. You have to, in a split second, they know, okay, who is in front of me? What do they need?
When I may ask Kelly, at what type of person were you from Gebrookerbos searching for? I saw the function, but you have no advertorial in a newspaper. You called people, so there must be
two guys.
What Linda says, and a kind of feeling.
Yeah, we
two guys who have a J in their name.
Yeah, no, we made a broker profile, but it was not exactly clear for us what the broker had to do. So it was also sort of a function that needs to be filled in by itself. So it's really difficult to search for someone if you don't really know exactly what he's going to do. So no, we decided not to put a paper, not to advertise because it was too difficult. We searched in our network and looked for someone who we thought was the man or woman. Yes. Yeah.
I love especially that part of my job. The space I become to develop my skills, my network, my method, and that there was confidence from the beginning to do so. And I feel the same way that the job is now experiences his job and the space he become from Nijmegen and the government to do so. And I think that kind of gives someone with a vertrouwen,
trust.
That's a very important part of the job. Yes.
And that's also the basis. It's the most important thing. Well, we also have the task to reflect, and in a reflection to initiatives, to the municipality, to other government organizations, to other stakeholders, it is not needed to think the same way. So when I'm going with Jop somewhere, I'm always the nasty one, and Jop is always the nice one. But that works.
Good cop, bad cop.
Yeah, really good cop, bad cop. But that's also a thing. We use that trust to point out, okay, this is not working. It's not nice to hear, but it's not working. So we have the space to reflect to our stakeholders and our network, and sometimes be the bad cop.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
Awesome. Yes, I think if there are no more further questions. Yes.
Yeah, I had a question. I wrote it for the end, the last one. Really, the last of the last is the how can the SuNSE network help, if it can help? Is it something that speaks to you, or to be connected with other social entrepreneurs? Or sorry, I don't have my camera. Okay, I always play with it.
Okay, you can ask it again, please.
Can I repeat?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Okay. So how could a network like SuNSE, for example, help you? Do you have interest in such a network, in being connected with other social entrepreneurs for develop the projects of your own people and of your own social entrepreneurs? Is it something that speaks to you or not? Maybe.
A really nice question, actually. I help a lot of creative minds with their own development, and there is this funding they can apply to, and they can use it to visit similar artists in a different country. So they can learn about their way of working. And yes, it's really important for me and the initiatives from Heerlen to make like a road trip through Europe and just visit different cities and see how other people struggle or manage or work with similar problems. And that's what I like about being a dancer. I traveled all over the world, and one of my favorite places are Osaka in Japan. And if I see how they manage anyway, but if they get no funding, they get nothing from the government, they just do it. So yeah, I would love to travel around and use the knowledge SuNSE has to learn from each other. It would be amazing. Yeah.
Jop, I think also that you use the matrix, I believe, the SuNSE matrix from the HKU in August last year. Do I remember that well?
Yeah, we went all out. People were blown away after. But we used it on starting social entrepreneurs. So that was quite interesting. It was somebody who has her own fighting school, but links it to social work. A young dancer who wants to become one of the best dancers in the world. And two persons who want to make a magical theater. So they want to make a theater where you can perform, but they also want to explain magic tricks. And there's also a social component to it, because they want the Gothic type of youngsters who are really closed. They want to get them to their theater and work with them and help them. And the matrix gave them more direction in the ideas. So it was easier for them to, at the end, to write down what they actually wanted to do, instead of just having all these thoughts everywhere and don't know how to put it down on paper.
That's why we have to use the toolkit, and we need the toolkit, because we tested it in August, and it was a very good response. So yes, that's the thing. And I think, Frederick, it's important. I said it to Alex. We don't have support organizations in the neighborhood here to support social entrepreneurs. So if there are links or presentations, online things, knowledge, we really want to know it. So we can shoot it in our network and help our entrepreneurs, because we know it a lot, but most of the time we know best where to find information. And that's what the initiatives are also searching and asking for us. Okay, where is the information? What is available? So that's what the SuNSE network can do for us. And I think chats like these, I said it yesterday, chats like these, just to inform each other, and we have to do it a lot more because then it's in your system, and then you can find each other so much easier to ask a question or do some things together.
Thank you very much.
Are there further questions? I see some people are leaving the meeting. Well, it's 4:30 here, 3:30 UK time. Well, if there are not, then I will thank you, Job and Jeff and Jos and Jelle. Thank you very much for your time, for your stories.
Really, really interesting, everyone. So thank you very much for that.
And if there are further questions, please put it on the mail or the app. We will connect each other. Yes? Thank you very much. See you soon.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Everybody. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.